Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Sigval here and welcome back to another video. So, I've been drinking with the boys yesterday, so if I sound a bit down, it's because of that. I'm sorry. But today we're going to talk about John Constantine. We're going to pretty much try to cover how good he is in raids and soul raids, how functional and the character is. That means how good he feels to play. We're also gonna cover if he is worth getting for free to play or pay to win, if he's worth getting, when you should get it, kind of in that priority list, what teammates and gears you're going to need for him. I don't really care about 39 champions right now, to be honest. If you care about that and his performance there, he's fine. He's fine. Something gives them a shield, they're very good, but so can do just Zatanna and Something. You don't really need this man for that. And by the way, all the footage you see in the background, which is pretty much going to be a fight in league raids that goes on for 3 minutes and then goes on a loop, it's going to be from Night Fear's channel. So make sure to check that out. It's the best place at the moment to go for raids and soul raids content. I'll put a link in the description and the pinned comments. Make sure to check Night Fury out. Please, show him some love. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the big positive here. He feels very good to play, and he works properly on release, which is something you don't usually see with characters, because you release them with a lot of bugs and a lot of things that make them not function, and it takes them around 4 updates to fully fix them. But this time, they have released a perfectly working character. Now, the fact that he works does not necessarily mean that he feels good to play, but he does. He does feel very good to play. The swipe back is smooth. Are somewhat smooth, the special animations are fine, everything works and feels good, and I really like playing John Constantine. I like the way they designed him. So in terms of the design, he's a very well put together character, and it feels like he kind of needs every of his abilities at some point, unlike, for example, Mr. Freeze. With Mr. Freeze, the only point in my life, except for maybe some arena fights, when I used the third special and the first special was when I, by mistake, put him in against a fight that locked my special too. But with this man, he's gonna use the special 1 at the start to get some early burns. He's gonna use the special 2 sometimes. You're gonna use this third special sometimes, though not that often, but we'll get to that. But yeah, everything has a level of functionality. He feels good to play, and I really dig his design. They did a great job in that regard. But now let's talk about the less fun part, the numbers. So he's pretty bad and very underpowered for the thing that he's supposed to do and the role that he's supposed to fill. So this man basically does more damage the less health the enemy has, and your Justice Dark team is going to do percentage health damage, and it has a very good synergy in that way. You fight a full health fight, you do some percentage health damage, and then you get this man in, you tag him in, and he's going to finish the fight for you after you have done percentage health damage with Zatanna. In theory, that sounds very great. Problem is, the enemy needs to be around 40% health or lower for the damage to really start kicking in. And you have 2 options here. You either just do the percentage health damage with Zatanna and then tag him in and do some more percentage health damage with him as he's tagged in, or try to do with all the characters. But the problem is you don't have time, because Zatanna does some and the teammates do some. And it's going to take you quite a long time to get everything done with everybody. So you either ignore getting everything done, or you get everything done, but you're gonna be left with a very small amount of time. And I feel like they simply needed a bit more percentage health damage to be able to push the enemy at lower health. If Zatanna was still bugged, you remember the Zatanna bug, where she gave percentage health damage to any character in the game, and the amount of percentage health damage was exactly the amount she had? If they made it so that Zatanna gives exactly 30% possible for also Justice Dark teammates, then John Constantine would most likely be pretty damn good. Because at that point you're going to do so much damage to the enemy that you're going to lower their health, and your basics are going to do quite a decent amount of damage. And regardless, your basics still do a decent amount of damage. And it's in a way comparable to Last Life Joker with DPI, but not necessarily in terms of the raw number. It's a weird thing, I know, but I get the same feeling I get from Joker whenever I'm using Constantine in the first 30 seconds. You're looking at the enemy's health, you're seeing that you're doing a bit of damage. It's no crazy amounts of damage, but it's constant damage. It's even increasing for Constantine. And you know that if you had the full 3 minutes, you know how it goes with Joker. Joker does a ton of damage, even though it doesn't seem like he's moving the boss's health bar much, because he's just not functioning like that. But this man, the only problem is last time Joker has 3 minutes. This man has at best 1 minute and 30 seconds. At best. That's the main issue. It's not like he is not doing a decent amount of damage. He does it too late and the amount is too low for the context he has to do it in. And his third special is terrible in terms of damage. Like, the third special has something where it should scale with the amount of negative effects on the enemy, and it does terrible damage. It's so bad to the point where if you're using the third special, you're losing damage. Because while you're doing the third special, you're not doing basics on the enemy. And those basics, instead of the third special animation, would actually do more damage, which is just kind of stupid, you know? And yes, he can be very good in cleanup fights. Let's say you fight an enemy that has 100% health, you deal some damage to him, he's down to 30%. Then you tag John Constantine in, like the next team, and he has a full 3 minutes against a fight that he does a ton of damage. But the problem is, so can Manta, so can Puppet Mr. Freeze, so can Silver Bench with Black Adam, and so can any of the teams that already one-shot. We don't need dedicated cleanup characters, and it was never a priority, and even if we needed them, they really wouldn't be a priority. So yeah, he's not very good, I'm overselling it a bit, but he's pretty good at cleaning up fights. But it's not really something that's worth getting him for. Okay, so let's recap everything. So, for the free-to-play side of things, there is absolutely no way I can recommend you guys get a character that's going to require gears to function properly, because he does need the gears. It's going to be pretty bad in terms of how much damage he does. It's gonna require 2 other teammates to even have, not necessarily 2 other teammates, more like 1 teammate, because something you can get pretty easily. Zatanna's gonna be a bit of a problem, and it's not that big of a problem because you kind of look forward to Zatanna anyway. You want to get that, but it's to the point where even if you have those 2 guys, it's still not worth getting him, because you're gonna spend so much gems trying to get gears that it's gonna bankrupt you. It's a very similar situation as it is with Mr. Freeze and Manta. They are pretty good, but they are very costly, so you should put that in the back of your priority list. The only problem is he's not even worth it. Those guys can be worth it. Manta and Freeze can be worth it, but this guy, not that much. And for the pay-to-win side of things, I haven't really seen him do very well with any pay-to-win artifact. I think the best artifact on him could be pay-to-win, which is Jokerized Batterings, but even with Jokerized Batterings, he's not doing much. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry and very sad about this, because as I said, as far as entertainment purposes go, I totally recommend John Constantine. He's a very fun character to play. But as far as value that you're getting for spending the gems to get him, no. Just don't. He's not worth it. But yeah, well, I've been said, thanks so much for watching. Like if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.